A thin shaft of late March sunlight pierced the mullioned windows of Prague's Museum of Vintage Toys, catching dust motes that danced like miniature snowflakes around the work table. Pavel Novak, the museum's senior restorer, bent over a walnut marionette stage while the scent of beeswax polish mingled with the richer aromas of old wood and velvet. He loved this hour, before tourists clattered across the parquet floors, before school groups pressed their noses to the glass. The hush felt sacred, as though every toy waited politely to whisper its stories. But this morning, the silence carried an edge. The Baron von Herglot's puppet star of the forthcoming Legends of Czech Puppetry exhibit was missing. The catalogue card still perched in the display case, boasting carved ebony boots and a lapis cravat. The puppet itself, rumoured to contain a Cold War microfoam spool smuggled through the Iron Curtain, had vanished overnight. Pavel rubbed the back of his neck. Dr. Karel Svoboda, the curator, should have stood beside him, flapping anxious hands, but Karel lay in St. Francis Hospital with a fractured collarbone. He'd fallen from the archive ladder after hours, according to Deputy Director Martina Bereshova, who found him at closing time. Pavel pictured the tidy, bespectacled curator sprawled on the floor and felt a fresh stab of unease. Karel was a mountain goat on ladders. He would never slip. Footsteps echoed from the corridor, and a woman's brisk voice followed. "Excuse me, is this where I'll find Mr. Novak?" Pavel looked up. A tall brunette in a tweed coat stood at the threshold, notebook in hand, eyes bright with curiosity. "That depends," he said. "If you're one of the contractors delaying my new lighting system, then no. If you're the journalist, yes." "Lena Richter, a freelance reporter," she replied, extending a hand. "I'm writing a weekend feature on the exhibit, but I heard about Dr. Svoboda's accident. Hard to ignore ominous timing." Her expression held the practiced neutrality of the press, yet Pavel detected enthusiasm beneath it, and perhaps concern. "Ominous is one word," he muttered, leading her toward the case. "See our problem?" Lena studied the vacant velvet cushion. "A missing aristocrat," she said. "How delightfully Gothic." "Gothic, but not delightful. Without the Baron, we'll have to postpone the opening." He hesitated, then added, "Karel always claimed the puppet carried hidden microphone proof of some spy shenanigans at the 1958 Brussels Expo. Most people figured it was a tall tale to charm donors." Lena's eyes glimmered. "Now your Cold War relic disappears the same night its guardian is injured. If I know Prague, that's more than coincidence." Pavel exhaled. "I'm good with woodworm, less so with intrigue. But Karel's like family. I need to find out what happened." "Then let me tag along," Lena said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "You have access, I have questions. Cozy mysteries sell papers as well as books." Pavel pretended to consider, though he felt oddly relieved. "Fine. But if management asks, you're helping me inventory. And absolutely no publishing until we understand the truth." "Scout's honor," Lena said, sketching a cross over her heart. They began with the archive staircase where Karel had fallen. The ladder's wheels were locked, the rungs polished smooth from decades of use. Lena crouched, pointing to a smear of reddish wax on the floorboards. "Interesting," she murmured. "Is that from your restorations?" Pavel dipped a finger. "Not mine. I only use clear beeswax." He sniffed. "This smells herbal. Theatre wax, perhaps. Puppeteer's coat strings so they glide." "Could someone have carried the Baron up here last night?" Lena asked. "The crate's normally stored in the south attic, not the archive." He frowned. "Unless Karel was moving it himself?" Lena scribbled as they ascended to the attic. The corridor narrowed to a timbered tunnel lit by a single bulb. Pavel unlocked the double doors. Inside, rows of labelled trunks formed a maze. Dust dimmed the gilt lettering. "Garlov, Ehleloft, 1947, Tour, like memories fading." They found the Baron's trunk half open, bedding straw spilling across the plank floor. Inside lay a jumbled pile of satin outfits, but no puppet. Somebody emptied it, Pavel said. And look, he lifted a length of frayed marionette string stained with the same crimson wax. It ended in a clean cut. Snipped. Lena's gaze drifted to the attic window. A thief could lower the puppet to someone in the courtyard, quick in, quick out. Except security cameras cover the courtyard, Pavel said. The only blind spot is the restoration workshop. He paused. Say where you found me. She raised an eyebrow. Are you implying? Just thinking aloud. He pocketed the string. Beneath the costume heap he noticed a folded sheet. Carol's spidery handwriting. 10 o'clock, Barona ask MB. MB had to be Martina Beresheva. His pulse quickened. Let's talk to Deputy Director Beresheva, he said. They descended to administration. Martina's office smelled of lemon disinfectant and bureaucratic nerves. She rose from her desk, smoothing a charcoal skirt. Mr. Novak, I hoped you'd be preparing the backup display. And I hoped the Baron would still be here, Pavel replied. Lena closed the door behind them. Carol left a note mentioning you. Carol mottled Martina's cheeks. I hardly spoke to him last night. I was finalizing insurance paperwork. At 9:30 I heard a crash, found him on the floor and called the ambulance. Why would he involve me with a pup? Perhaps you can tell us, Lena said lightly. Was anything else missing? Martina bristled. Security locked no breach. I reviewed the tapes personally. Could we see them? Lena asked. That's irregular. Martina's jaw clenched. I'm arranging a private firm to audit. Until then, please focus on the exhibit. Back in the corridor, Lena whistled. Doesn't like questions, does she? Pavel pursed his lips. She's efficient, not warm. But sabotaging her own exhibition? Hard to picture. Efficiency cuts both ways, Lena said. She might stage an accident to claim insurance if the Baron were damaged, or to hide the microfilm for a buyer. Pavel's stomach folded. You think Carol found her scheming and got pushed? I think, Lena corrected. We need evidence. Let's talk to someone who doesn't wear stilettos to climb ladders. The night security guard, older Masustek, sat in his booth munching kolake. He greeted Pavel with fatherly fondness. Visiting during daylight, my shift will be jealous. Pavel introduced Lena and asked about the tapes. Older shrugged. At 11, power flickered. Cameras kept recording, but feed scrambled for 30 seconds. I reported it. Deputy Director said she'd handle. A precise half-minute, Lena noted. Enough for someone to move a puppet. Alder scratched his beard. Could be coincidence. Strange thing, though. An alarm sensor near the children's exhibit triggered at the same time, then reset. That's adjacent to my workshop, Pavel said. The sensor would trip if the service hatch opened. He looked at Lena. We have a hatch leading to the courtyard. Big enough for a puppet? Shall we investigate? Lena asked. They reached the children's wing, its candy-colored carousel horses frozen mid-gallop. Behind a painted castle backdrop they found a service hatch. Pavel knelt, shining his phone light along the sill. Crimson wax flecked the edge. A faint footprint marked the dust narrow, heeled. Martina's shoes, Lena murmured. Case is tightening. Pavel felt conflicted. Before we accuse her, let's consider Corral again. Maybe he removed the puppet to protect it, staged his own fall to buy time. Lena tapped her pen on her lips. An elaborate charade for a scholarly curator, but possible. Where would he hide the Baron if not here? Only one off-site storage belongs solely to Corral, the Fulton warehouse in Zizhkov. He stores overstock puppets there. Pavel checked his watch. Visiting hours at the hospital end at 6. We could ask him first. They caught tram 9 across the Vltava, Lena taking notes between jolts. At St. Francis, Karel lay propped in a sling, glasses askew. When Pavel explained, the curator's eyes widened behind bruised lenses. I didn't move the Baron, he rasped. I climbed the ladder to retrieve his original certificate. Insureds wanted confirmation of provenance. Something struck me from behind. Next thing, Payne— A person? Lena asked. I heard footsteps, smelled that odd wax we used in Bratislava, 1982. That tour was complicated. He winced. Please, find the puppet before someone discovers the microfilm. It contains names, people still alive. His fingers tightened on Pavel's sleeve. If the thief realizes the spool is hidden in the puppet's head, they'll break it open. Pavel nodded grimly. The rest and leave it to us. Outside, dusk settled over the Baroque facades. Lena hugged her coat. Warehouse? Warehouse, Pavel agreed. The facility sat on a graffiti-bright side street, its brick walls exhaling the chill of unheated space. Pavel's key clicked in the padlock. Inside, a single fluorescent tube flickered over racks of boxed toys. The hush smelled of paper and cloves. Karel always tucked sachets to deter moths. They located a rolling crate tagged Baron Stage Replica 1980. The lid hung crooked. Within lay the Baron von Herglot's boots, cravat, aristocratic sneer. Yet something was wrong. The puppet's control bar was missing. The crown of its head showed fresh glue seams, and the strings dangling from its hands were cut. He's been butchered, Pavel whispered, lifting the marionette with surgical care. He touched the head joint. A sliver shifted. Inside was a hollow barely big enough for a cigarette butt. Empty. Lena photographed the damage. Somebody found the microfilm? Means they know its value, Pavel swallowed, but not necessarily how to sell it. Intelligence artifacts are tricky. Metal scraped behind them. They whirled. Martina Burecheva stepped from the shadows, phone raised like a weapon. I warned you two to stay out of this, she said, voice low. Hand me the Baron. You stole museum property, Pavel said, and assaulted Karel? Her lips pressed thin. I tried persuasion. He refused to relinquish that relic, even after I secured a serious buyer. I waited for closing, followed him to the archive. He turned too fast. I never meant for him to fall. Accidents happen. Lena's tone cooled. You disabled the cameras, used the hatch and hid the puppet here. Then what? Plan to sell the microfilm to the highest bidder? History is cash. Martina pocketed her phone and produced a slim pistol more menacing than her stilettos. Hand it over, Mr. Novak. Pavel's mind raced. The pistol's barrel glinted, but her stance angled awkwardly on the cracked concrete. He had one advantage, knowledge of clutter. Without warning, he threw the empty crate lid like a discus. Martina flinched. The pistol clattered across the floor. Lena kicked it under a shelving unit and tackled Martina's ankles. In the scuffle, the deputy director's heel snapped, depositing her onto a heap of plush bears. Sirens wailed outside. Lena had triggered her phone's SOS before the lid flew. Police bundled Martina into a patrol car 15 minutes later, mirroring her earlier poise with handcuffs for accessories. Officers collected the damaged puppet and Martin's handbag, which contained a plastic canister the size of a film spool, also empty. Where's the film? An officer asked. Pavel shook his head. If it was ever inside, she removed it earlier. Lena frowned. But she demanded the puppet just now. She must think the film is still there, which means— She turned to Pavel slowly. The microfilm is still inside. He stared at the marionette's elegant face. Karel said the head, but look at this. He nudged the boot. The ebony heel sounded hollow. Using a penknife, he pried a hidden cavity beneath the sole. A coiled strip of microfilm gleamed like a secret dark river. The head was misdirection, Lena breathed. Karel protected the real hiding place all along. Back at the hospital the next morning, Pavel placed the Baron carefully resealed on Karel's bedside cabinet. The curator's eyes misted. You found it? He whispered. And ensured the microfilm will reach the National Archive confidentially, Pavel said. Karel sank back relieved. Those names belong in history books, not black markets. Afterward, Pavel invited Lena to the museum cafe overlooking Charles Bridge. Tourists drifted past the arched windows, unaware of the drama that had played out overnight. Steam curled from mugs of zacolada hoka, rich and comforting. "So," Lena said, stirring cream, "I can finally write my article." "The public loves a happy ending." Pavel chuckled, emphasis on cozy, please. Less gunplay, more marionettes. Deal. I might add a heroic restorer who wields cratelets like medieval shields. He blushed. And a fearless journalist who uses her phone smarter than James Bond. They clinked cups. Around them, the toys of generations stood watch. Tin soldiers in parade rows, porcelain dolls with coy smiles, rocking horses forever mid-canter. Their silent witness reminded Pavel that even the gentlest relics could guard turbulent histories. Lena closed her notebook. "Think the Baron will still open the exhibit on time?" "Absolutely," Pavel said. "I'll repair his strings, polish his boots, and he'll take center stage. As for the microfilm, the archive will honor its ghosts without exploiting them." Across the hall, a maintenance ladder leaned beneath a stained-glass skylight. For a moment, Pavel pictured Carol's fall, Martina's greed, and the fragile spool that might have changed hands in a darker ending. Then he inhaled the warm chocolate air and let the comfort of familiar surroundings settle over him. Mysteries, he decided, were like marionettes, intricate systems of knots and levers that, once understood, could be guided toward grace. And sometimes, if you were lucky, you had the right partner to help untangle every string.